Psychology of saving. How your brain tricks you to spend every dollar you earn. As a little child, whenever anybody gave me money as a gift or I went out to work and make some money, my mother would always tell me, don't eat with your 10 fingers. In the culture where I grew up, don't eat with your 10 fingers is a proverb that means never spend everything you earn. In the first part of this video, I talked about some psychological reasons why most people don't save money. I talked about the different U's, the end of history illusion, false optimism, and many other psychological reasons why most people don't save money. I also debunked the excuses such as, I don't make enough money, and even proved that saving as little as $5 a month can change your life. If you have not watched the first part of this video, I advise you to check it in the description box below. Now, in the second part, I'd like to talk to you about some other reasons why most people don't save money and suggest how you can actually start saving money. I started this video with a story of how my mother always told me don't eat with your 10 fingers. The idea of not eating with my 10 fingers was drummed so much in my ear that at some point I started wondering if it was a biblical commandment. It's not just that my mother would tell me a million times, don't eat with your 10 fingers. She never ate with her 10 fingers too. Now, you get the idea. Because I grew up with a mother who considers the idea of saving money as serious as a religious duty, I find it extremely difficult, even as an adult who makes a reasonable amount, to spend money carelessly. Except for food, investment in my family medical bills, taking money out for anything else feels to me as though I'm parting away with my blood. Many people in our world today grew up with parents who don't save money, so it's difficult for such people to learn how to save money. As the saying goes, apples don't fall far from the tree. While you can learn how to waste money from your parents or family members, you can also learn it from the general culture of your country. Several studies have found that the saving rate is different from one country to another, and that's regardless of people's income. For example, according to datasets from OECD, the average annual income in both United States and Switzerland is similar at around $65,000 in 2020. But Americans' saving rate is 4.7%, while Switzerland's saving rate stands at 19.03%. According to the World Bank, China's gross national savings rate was 48.3% of GDP in 2015, while UK saving rate averaged 8.36% from 1955 to 2021. Countries like Ireland, Qatar, the Republic of the Congo, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates save as much as 50% or more of their income, while some other countries of the world save nothing. To know the reason why some countries have a better culture about savings, in 2013, Keith Chen, a professor of behavioral economics at the UCLA Anderson School of Management, studied the relationship between language and savings in a cross-country framework. Using national accounts data from both the OECD 1970 to present and World Bank data merged with the WVS. What Keith Chen found is that the underlying structure of people's language determines how much they'll value savings. For example, Chen found that people who speak a future language, which draws a strong distinction between the future and the present, find it more difficult to save money because their language is constantly reminding them that the future is different from the present. Oh, this is similar to what I talked about in the first part of the video, the false optimism, and the idea that most of us tend to see our future selves as a stranger and don't care so much about him or her. In this sense, people who speak future languages, Chen put it, care less about the future, while people who speak a future-less language, one that doesn't distinguish between the future from the present, should find it much easier to save money. So, if you care to know more about the idea of future and futureless language, I recommend you read this article by languagetrainers.com. Or better still, watch Professor Chen's TED Talk.
You speak English, a futured language, and what that means is that every time you discuss the future or any kind of a future event, grammatically you're forced to cleave that from the present and treat it as if it's something viscerally different. Now, suppose that visceral difference makes you subtly disassociate the future from the present every time you speak. If that's true, and it makes the future feel like something more distant and more different from the present, that's going to make it harder to save.
The effect of culture and language on our ability to save money doesn't just end when we leave our country. In fact, generations of people who have migrated to other countries still carry with them their money culture. For example, this study was published in 2018 by Joan Costa-Font of the London School of Economics and his colleagues. Their research uses data from the Understanding Society survey, a longitudinal study of 40,000 households in the United Kingdom, and the study covers 3 generations of immigrants living in the UK. The authors of this study assessed 3 saving measures: the total amount of monthly savings, propensity to save, and how much personal wealth increases or doesn't over time. What the study found is that immigrants from cultures with high saving rates did tend to save proportionately more once in the UK, even till the 3rd generation. Let's say you're able to figure out the reason why you don't have the habit of saving money is that your parents or the culture where you grew up doesn't recognize the importance of saving money. What then are you supposed to do? Well, first, you have to agree with me that nothing is written in stone here. Even though most apples don't fall far from the tree, some apples actually travel miles away from the tree. Even though it's easy for us as humans to inherit bad behavior from our primary environment, as adults, we can see the pitfalls of such attitudes and decide to change our ways. In fact, if you get to know that your culture or family is the source of your lavish spending, you can hate that and decide to do just the opposite of what everyone in such family or culture does. Now, let's talk about another pitfall most modern humans fall for. In 1996, while writing his PhD dissertation at the University of Carnegie Mellon, Arthur Zellmeyer studied a phenomenon he called pain of pain. The pain of pain refers to the negative emotions humans experience during the process of paying for goods or services. In other words, during the payment process, the handing over of money is akin to losing money. Since most people are loss averse, giving out money is experienced as a negative feeling to be avoided as much as possible. Other psychologists like Dan Ariely and George Lowenstein have done extensive work on the idea of the pain of pain, and this is what their studies found. Painful things hurt us. Most of us hate to see our hard-earned money going away from our hands. It feels to some of us as though we're losing our blood. But guess what? The modern economy has taken away such pains. What different studies have found is that even though humans are loss-averse and hate to see their money gone, when you give us a credit or debit card, the pain of pain almost vanishes because we don't really see anything going away from us when we buy with our cards. In a 2001 study by Dr. Drazen Plurk and Duncan Symester, randomly selected participants were offered the opportunity to buy highly desirable sold-out tickets to a professional basketball game. Half the participants were told that they would have to pay cash for the tickets. They would be required to pay by credit card. Those who were told they would have to pay by credit card were willing to pay more than twice as much on average as those who were told they would have to pay by cash. In other words, study participants who used credit cards were willing to pay a 100% premium for the opportunity to buy now and pay later. Why is that so? Well, buying things with credit cards doesn't bring us pains as much as losing our physical cash. In another study conducted by Dun and Bradstreet, the company found that people spend 12% to 18% more when using credit cards instead of cash. In 2016, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston found an even sharper disparity between cash and non-cash transactions. According to this 2016 report from the bank, the average value of a cash transaction was $22, compared with $112 for a non-cash transaction, a 409% difference. One study from the Journal of Applied Psychology found that dinners tipped an average of about 4.3% more just by seeing a credit card logo on the tray that holds their restaurant bill. Now, imagine you were an adult in the 17th century. First, you probably have no bank account, so you'll keep all your money inside your house. meaning you're seeing them and you feel good about seeing them. Now, if you want to buy a shoe, you have to go to your physical savings, bring out a part of your money, and let it go to a shoe seller. All these steps bring you pain, which is why you may not want to buy anything except you really need them. But then in 1887, Edward Bellamy published a novel titled Looking Backwards and described for the first time the idea of credit cards. By 1950, Ralph Schneider and Frank McNamara, founders of Diners Club, expanded the idea of using credit cards for the general public. Today, many people in the world can spend the money they don't have to buy what they don't need just because it's extremely easy to do just that. While debit cards drastically reduce the pain you feel when buying stuff, credit cards seems to take away such pains completely with a phenomenon psychologists call payment coupling. Payment coupling is the psychological idea that it's easier for us to buy things if we know that we don't have to pay for them immediately. Remember I told you that we see our future selves as different people? Because of that, we unconsciously assume that we can buy whatever we want now and get someone else to pay for it in the future. While spending the money we don't have destroys our lives, companies and corporations actually rejoice because of that.
Because I thought everything was okay. I was making the full payment. I was making the $150 credit card payment fine on a couple of them. Okay, everything's okay. And then let's go get something else and go do this and do that. And that's what happened. It was easy.
The Reyes charged new tires for the cars, this TV, clothes for the kids, trips to Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland, and dinners out at restaurants.
We would go out to a real nice restaurant in Miramar, and I used to give the guy like $25 tip, and they love us. Like we haven't been in there though. We haven't been in there. We have not been in there, huh? We haven't been in Chins in a long time, huh? How long has it been? Like a year, huh?
In the past 5 years, the Reyes amassed 20 credit cards and $42,000 in debt.
It's easy to get. It's easy. Easy. You go to the store, even Walmart. I walk into Walmart and it's tempting because they have somebody there standing there at the front. You want to apply for a Walmart credit? We'll give you this for free, this for free.
In part 1 of this video, I talked about how in the 1930s, the English economist John Keynes predicted that as people became wealthier and had more money at their disposal, they would increase their savings rather than their consumption. What I didn't say, however, is the fact that John Keynes and some other economists of his days believed that savings could be a bad thing for the economy. John Keynes' ideas about why savings could be bad for the economy is called paradox of thrift. And the idea is very simple. The reason why the economy of a given country grows is that people in it spend money. If the money stops going around, then the economy will collapse. Think about it for a moment. Let's say you start saving 70% of your income, and that means that you buy nothing except food. What that means is that you won't patronize the shoe seller and that expensive restaurant and that new iPhone. Close your eyes and imagine everyone in your country doing just that. Well, the economy of your country will collapse. So, savings is actually a bad thing for the general economy, which is why you should not share this video with your friends because if everyone starts saving, the whole world will collapse. Well, okay, that was a joke. But also the truth, the reason why the government will not care about a video like this is that, well, 99% of the people who watch a video like this will never change a thing in their lives. Another culprit in the purse of modern people is social media. According to a new study from the Alliance Life Insurance Company of North America, social media makes us overspend. Not only because of advertisements on social media, but also because social media makes it easier for us to compare our lives with that of other people. And consequently, we want to meet up. So, in conclusion, according to this 2019 study, people who save money are happier than people who spend everything they earn. And the reason for that is simple. Having no money in the bank makes you vulnerable. Having some money in the bank makes you feel better, because you can protect yourself against some uncertainties. The key to saving money is to start caring about your future self. I've heard people saying that they need to spend all their money because they want to enjoy today, since nobody knows tomorrow. That idea comes from false optimism. Love your future self. Keep something for him or her. Develop hatred for the culture of debt and the culture of spend it all. Thanks for watching.